Hi, it's Mrs. Nozika again. Tonight I'm going to tell you a little bit about adverb clauses. On your Cornell notes, if you could please put that the topic is adverb clauses and your essential question is explain what an adverb clause is and what it does. Now, I just want to remind you that an adverb clause, like I mentioned in the last lecture, is a type of dependent clause. Remember, that means it cannot stand alone. Dependent is dependent on an independent clause, so it cannot stand alone. It also, since it is a clause, has to have a subject and a verb. Now, an adverb clause is called an adverb clause because it acts like an adverb. In other words, it modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. It basically tells the where, when, how, why, to what extent, and under what conditions. So here are some examples. You may sit wherever you want. Wherever you want is our adjective clause. We know it's a clause because it has a subject and a verb. This adverb clause is modifying the verb sit. So it's modifying a verb. It is telling us where. The next sentence, when winter sets in, many animals hibernate. When winter sets in is our adverb clause. We know it's a clause because it has a subject and a verb. It is describing or modifying hibernate. It's telling when many animals hibernate. Next sentence, happy because he got an A, Dima jumped up and down. Because he got an A is our adverb clause, and it is describing happy, which is an adjective. It is telling why. Next sentence, Core can type faster. Oops, sorry about that. Core can type faster than I can. Than I can is our adverb phrase. It is describing faster. We know it's a clause because it has a subject and a verb, and it is answering the question, to what extent? Last example, if her flight is canceled, Diana will arrive late in Florida. If her flight is canceled, it's our adverb clause. We know it's a clause because it has a subject and a verb. This clause is modifying the verb phrase will arrive. It's telling under what condition she will arrive late. Now, in the last lecture, when I was talking about adjective clauses, one hint in the sentence that told you there was an adjective clause is adjective clauses start with a relative pronoun most of the time. An adverb clause starts with a subordinating conjunction. So a subordinating conjunction introduces an adverb clause. It shows a relationship between the adverb clause and the word it modifies. Here is a chart, and this is actually directly from your grammar book, of the various subordinating conjunctions. So look for these in sentences, and usually if you see these, it's a pretty good indication that there's going to be an adverb clause. You still want to check to see if it's a clause by looking at whether there's a subject or a verb, though. Beware, something to look out for. Words such as after, as, before, since, and until are also commonly used as prepositions. Now remember, I've mentioned this before, in grammar, it's not always what the word is, it's how those words are being used. So something to remember, it's how those words are used that let you know what they are. So remember from the beginning of the lecture when I said that an adverb clause acts like an adverb. It's going to modify, and you might want to go back to the beginning of the video. It modifies an adjective, a verb, or another adverb. So here is an example of a word that can be used as a preposition or a subordinating conjunction. So let's take the word after. After can be used as a preposition. So in this example, after lunch, we'll finish making the model. After lunch is a prepositional phrase. We know it can't be a clause because it doesn't have a subject and a verb. That's why I crossed these out up here. It cannot be a clause. Why again? Because it doesn't have a subject and a verb. So after in this sentence is being used as a preposition. In the second sentence that has the word after, it's being used as a subordinating conjunction. After you wash the dishes, I'll dry them and put them away. After you wash the dishes is an adverb clause. We know it's a clause because it has a subject and a verb. After is our subordinating conjunction. This whole clause is telling when you will dry and put the dishes away. So it's describing dry and put. Finally, some lasting thoughts. These are sort of the by the way. When an adverb clause begins a sentence, it is followed by a comma. So if you look back at some of the examples, and actually one of the examples I have down below, you'll notice if an adverb clause begins a sentence, it is followed by a comma. In most cases, deciding where to place an adverb clause is a matter of style, not correctness. So I basically took, these are almost the same exact sentence. I just moved the clause around. So, and thank you, Robin, for letting me pick on you. After we staged an intervention, Robin's obsession with One Direction grew. Our adverb clause, after we staged an intervention, is at the beginning of the sentence. That is why it has a comma. Our subordinating conjunction is after. It has a subject and a verb. We is a subject, staged is a verb. And this whole clause is modifying or describing grew. It's telling when Robin's obsession grew or why. Now, the second one, almost the same exact sentence. All I did was place the clause at the end of the sentence instead. Robin's obsession with One Direction grew after we staged an intervention. So this is the same exact clause, it's just in a different spot in the sentence. It is still going to modify the same thing the sentence above did. It modifies grew. It tells when or why her obsession grew.